BBTAG 2.0 came out over a year ago, and at least to me, it felt like a new start for the game. I was really hyped for the game's future, especially since new characters were teased at the end of the last character trailer, and going from interviews, Mori made it sound like there was more to come for the game. At this point, though, I think it's pretty safe to say that BBTAG is done, and I think that really sucks. I've seen a lot of people saying that BBTAG is dead, and it's not. I mean, you just saw me in the lobby there. This game has people playing it. Even if you look at Granblue versus lobbies, usually BBTAG has more people in the lobby than Granblue. Just think about that. So no, this game is not dead. It's done. You know, it seems like it's done, but it's not dead. But just the fact that they're finished with the support, that does suck. I can say that my personal gripes with the game right now are its roster, mainly the missing lead characters from each of the series, and the netcode. And if either one of those two things were handled, I would actively play this game and I'd be motivated to learn and improve. Some players are actually happy with the game as it is right now, and that's fine, you know, more power to you. Some players are still waiting and hoping for 3.0. And, you know, like I've said before, if it happens, that'd be great. But personally, I've just accepted that 2.0 is the last major update that TAG is going to get, even though it seems like more was planned. So, the question is, what happened to BBTAG 3.0? Etchy, your question. Do I think TAG 3.0 isn't happening because Arc Sys isn't working on it, or just because other companies have given up on the game? So I think it's just because Arc Sys has stopped working on it. I don't really see, the way I see it, there isn't much reason for the other companies to say, oh, hey, we thought we were gonna get more money out of this. Never mind, we're not gonna give you any more characters. I kind of doubt that's the situation. Just off the top of my head, just to give a few examples. So for Arcana Heart, in case you guys were unaware, the new update for the game that we talked about literally a year and a half ago. This was back when 1.5, BBTAG 1.5 was announced. The new update for Arcana Heart still isn't out yet. It's still not out yet. They're still working on that. I think it's available to people who are supporting the Kickstarter for the game, or some kind of crowdfunding for the game. They have early access, but it's still not released to the public. They're still working on that. I doubt that Team Arcana would not, wouldn't be appreciative of getting some extra money if they just lent Arc Sys some more of their characters. The thing is that for them specifically, they actually made the new sprite for Heart, so they would probably have to take out the time to make the other sprites for their characters if they were going to be added to TAG, which, since they're working on this update, and it's been a year and a half, and it's still not publicly available, they probably don't have the resources to do that. If you look at Akatsuki Blitzcomp, that game hasn't gotten any sort of update of any kind or a new release or anything in a long time. But I doubt, what's the company? I'm trying to think of the company that made the game, Subtle Style. I doubt Subtle Style would be against giving Arc Sys one of their characters to use in the game, because again, that's some convenient money for them, you know. French Bread, small company, similar idea, not that much money. I don't see why they would say no. You might be able to make an argument for Rooster Teeth, but I mean, I don't think they would be against more Ruby characters being in the game. There is a new Ruby game, by the way. We're going to mention that. There is a new Ruby game being made. And Arc Sys is publishing it. We know for sure that they're publishing the game. It's just that I don't think that other companies are against giving Arc Sys their characters. There's no sign of that to me at least. I just think it's more of Arc and their priorities for what they had to get done. DJ, welcome back. Yeah, like we're still at the early part of the discussion, dude. So you're so good. All right. So yeah, I can say that for me personally, I had 2 ideas in mind for why 3.0 would be canceled. Maybe the pandemic just totally screwed over Arc's original schedule. They are working on DLC for Fighters and Granblue Versus, and working to release Guilty Gear Strive and BlazBlue Dark War. Who knows what other projects they're working on that we don't know about. There's the Ruby game that I just mentioned. That's going to be releasing next year. But we don't know if both WayForward and Arc are going to be working together on developing this game, or if Arc is just a publisher. My theory was that, well, since people like the way that the Ruby sprites looked in Tag, maybe, just maybe, Arc Sys is going to be making the sprites for this WayForward game. But that's not confirmed. That's just a random theory of mine. We haven't seen any gameplay or any screenshots, so we have no idea what this WayForward game is going to look like. All we know is that Arc Sys at least is publishing the game. That's pretty much it. DJ, yeah, no, like, feel free to mention any theories you have, bro. Like, that's the whole purpose of having the discussion on stream. Feel free to mention it, man, and we'll talk about it. Etchy, so since Mori ended Ragnar's story, what's going to be next? For BlazBlue Dark War, I believe it's a prequel. If I remember correctly, it's a prequel, and CL, the character who's my avatar in this game in BBTAG, she's going to be one of the main characters that Dark War focuses on. And there's this other character as well. I'm trying to remember her name. I think her name is Alpha 12. If you check out Maury's Twitter for his header, I believe, for like his header picture, he has Alpha 12 in the picture. If I remember correctly, I think he still has that there. So I'm imagining it's going to focus more on those characters. I'm not sure how it's going to tie into the BlazBlue story that we know that happens, in the future compared to their timeline, but we'll find out. They have said they're putting in just as much effort for Dark War as they would a console game. That's essentially what they've said before. And I mean, it's been years since they've announced it. It's been in development for a while. So we'll have to wait and see what that game is actually like. So yeah, obviously a lot of resources are going into that. So yeah, but regarding the other games that Arc already has priorities for, like Fighters and Granblue, I imagine that Arc has some kind of agreement with Bandai Namco and Cygames, and that they have to support their games with a certain number of new characters or updates each year. And keeping that agreement during the pandemic is probably one of the reasons, not the main reason, because I'm sure that there's others, but definitely one of the reasons that Strive, which originally was planned to be released by now, actually, it was planned to be released end of 2020, why that game's been delayed until next year. On top of that, like I was saying earlier, Arc Sys might be working on the sprites for that new Ruby game from WayForward. We don't know. And yeah, there's a lot of effort that's going to be going into Dark War, just from looking at the amount of time it's been in development. But it just looks like they're putting their resources into supporting the licensed games and their upcoming games. Those are the games that are getting priority. If anything was going to get cut this year, it was bound to be BBTAG just because of that. Okay. Okay, so DJ, you think that Rooster Teeth, regarding the Ruby characters, you think that Rooster Teeth might be the holdup when it comes to more of their characters, because they haven't been doing too well recently. We're not going to talk about the controversy and things that you know have been going on with Rooster Teeth, because like I've heard some things, but not directly related to this conversation. But at least speaking of it just in general, if Rooster Teeth lent Arc Sys their characters, that will be convenient money for them. They're not losing anything by doing that. I mean, there's demand for Ruby characters for both BBTAG players as well as Ruby fans. There's definitely a good number of characters that I think would get Ruby fans excited, and Rooster Teeth doesn't have to do any of the work for adding the character in. That's all on Arc Sys. So, with it being convenient for them, I don't see, like, why do you think that will be a bad thing for Rooster Teeth? Ooh, okay. Yeah, I see one of you guys mentioned a good point. But first, so Etchy, do I think that Arc Sys is gonna expand and move from Ragna's timeline to Naoto K's timeline? That's a possibility. That was actually my thought when I finished BBCF however many years ago. I actually thought that might be, it's a possibility, you know. Who knows? Maybe, but there's other things they could do as well. So, Dana Chris, I think the data mine... Okay, yeah. So, the thing is, yeah, a lot of people did think that the data mine characters were going to happen, and they haven't happened. And trust me, like, I've had the same thoughts. The way that I see it, because we talked about the data mine back when it first happened, back when we first found out about it from 1.5. The data mine, I said this back then too. The data mine was just a general, I said it was a general direction for who you could possibly expect for the game. And I felt like the data mine, the characters they left in there, I feel like that was very intentional, because they already had their game data mined with the beta before the game even came out. Why would they... I just don't see them making the same mistake. And not only did they make that mistake, but they made it so bad that they literally had franchises that weren't even expected to be in the game. They had them in the data mine as well. And the list of characters for those series, those were well thought out lists. For like Persona, Uni, and BlazBlue, yeah, they just read the roster. But for the other 4 series, those lists of characters had a lot of really popular fan favorites in there. So I'm fairly certain that they planned out that list of characters. And the thing is, to have all of them in, like, all of the voice lines, you know, all the announcer calls for each of those characters in the game on accident, bro, the odds of that are so slim that I'm pretty sure that was done intentionally. And I think it was done intentionally to get attention, because there was like news articles online about this. A lot of people were really excited about it. And what I have to think, if I'm going to give Mori the benefit of the doubt, I have to think to myself that instead of just baiting people into believing that we're going to get a good number, not most, not all, but a good number of those characters there, I have to believe that that was the intention, and that for whatever happened this year, that just didn't get to work out. That's how I have to look at this if I'm going to give Mori the benefit of the doubt, or the dev team the benefit of the doubt, because otherwise it was just bait to get people to buy the game. Where, you know, to get people excited about things that are never going to happen in the game if they knew about it that far in advance. So I'm just going to assume that they did have plans, and that for whatever reason they just didn't work out. Okay, yeah. So DJ, right. I actually remember reading that article. Rooster Teeth was the one that suggested Neo. They're the reason that Neo is in this game, and I'm very appreciative of that. she is the biggest surprise to me that I've gotten in this game, and I'm really happy that you know, she made it in. But that was Rooster Teeth's choice because Arc Sys was going to choose, I believe they were going to choose Adam. Maury said he wanted Adam in the game, so most likely it would have been Adam. But and yeah, you know, Rooster Teeth, they can say no. They can say no, you can't put that character in the game. They have the rights to. It's just that I don't think that they would stop them from putting more characters in the game. It's just that Arc Sys, Rooster Teeth knew that Neo was going to be a hype character, and they were so right, because she was announced yeah, like she was announced after the volume where she actually got, like, she came back and like people were hyped, and yeah, so they knew what they were doing. And yeah, it does take a lot of time to make new characters, for sure. But at the same time, there's still a good number of legacy characters that they already have assets for. Major characters, lead characters from Persona, Uni, and BlazBlue that are not yet in this game, that still have a lot of demand. Just saying. Okay, so cool. The second theory that I had about this, and this is honestly the one that I like to think about more. I remember that I read something about this before, but I recently found an article from Destructoid that specifically covers it. So back in 2017, Kazuhisa Wada, the director for the Persona series, was asked about a new Persona fighting game. Just to keep it simple, we're going to call it Persona 5 Arena, okay? And Wada said that it depended on BBTAG. And a lot of people, including myself, a lot of people thought that meant that BBTAG had to sell well enough for Persona 5 Arena to be made. But that really doesn't make sense if you think about it. Persona 5 has done really well for Atlus. It has a lot of momentum, even right now. So what does it have to do with BBTAG? I heard some theories that maybe Persona 5 Arena will end up being a 2v2 game, and I didn't believe it at first, but if that is true, then it makes sense that WADA would look to see how BBTAG does first, since BBTAG, you know, obviously a 2v2 fighter. Persona 5 introduced the new baton pass mechanic, and I think that that would fit well into Persona 5 Arena if it turns out to be a 2v2 game. Or maybe WADA wanted Arena to be released after TAG stopped receiving updates. Maybe the team that was working on BBTAG is now working on Persona 5 Arena. And actually, interestingly enough, earlier today, Persona 5 Royal received the Partner Award during the PlayStation Awards in Japan, and WADA specifically said that there's plenty of exciting plans for the Persona series next year because it's the 25th anniversary. And you know, Persona 5 Arena has been a pretty big request from fans for years now. So hopefully next year will be the year. Only time will tell if this is the case, but when I think about BBTAG ending on 2.0 so we can get Persona 5 Arena with rollback, I personally feel like it's worth it. You know, on a side note, I will say I hope that Rise somehow makes it into Persona 5 Arena since she didn't make it in a tag. I'm sure that Atlus knows that she's a popular character, so I'd hope they would give her, you know, some time to shine in at least one of these games. Whatever Arc decides to do, I think they've proven that the idea of cross-tag battle appeals to a lot of people, so I'd love to see them give it another shot sometime in the future. I think they took on a bit more than they could handle with trying to make BBTAG anime smash, pretty much. I hope they can just focus on a few franchises in a future game so it's easier to have all the main characters, all the fan favorites in the game, and of course, rollback. I think that would be amazing.